welcome to the Begas Vaby Podcast. If you've seen our vlogs, this is just going to be more of the same as we explore and discuss everything Las Vegas. So welcome back to the Begas Vaby Podcast. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined us so far. This is episode 5, I think, if I can do basic maths. I will say that you stuck just with the two of us this week, me and Michael. Big thanks to Matt and Simon, who were our guests in the last couple of weeks. The plan is that we are going to interject the weeks, just with some weeks me and Michael and other weeks with guests too. So apologies if we're not as entertaining as our last two guests, but if we're not, it's all Michael's fault.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. I'll have you know that I'm stuck with you bloody every day, and it's a delightful experience. I
was going to say, and you wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
Well, it's that I don't really get much option, is it? You know, so I just can't even conceive of a life without you. So take that as you will.
You know what? I'm going to take that as a compliment, and I'm going to run with it.
It wasn't necessarily how it was intended, but whatever makes you happy.
I don't care. That's how I'm hearing it, so I'm going to take it with that.
Fair enough. You do that.
Right, so I think I know what's coming up next. It's going to be the Vegas sound. And before that I play that, I just want to gloat for a moment. I'm just going to take a moment to gloat that I am on a run. I have got the last two. Fair enough, one was with Matt's kind of assistance, even though it was all Matt, but never mind. But last week I was on it and I got it. Simon backed me up last week, but I got it. So I'm on a roll. I'm happy with myself.
You see, I've been feeling really, really bad for you, to be perfectly honest, because obviously you started off getting these completely and utterly wrong, not even getting close. And then Matt got one for you out of, what I can only presume was pity. And then last week, I made it so easy for you that even you must have been thinking, that you can't take any real pride out of it. So
you know what?
So like I said, I've been feeling bad for you, and so I've made this clip this week. It's still very, very easy, and I'm still expecting you to actually
really
get it, but I've reduced it down from 9 seconds. Which, was, like I say, just you couldn't possibly take any pride out of that.
Really?
Back down to 1 second.
You know what? You couldn't just give me it, could you?
Well, I am.
No, you're not. This isn't giving me it. This is telling me that you deliberately made it easy and I would have no pride in it. You couldn't just give me it.
No, I'm just trying to see it from your point of view. And, I have been empathising with you all week thinking, have I been a little bit cruel to her there? Have I basically given her something that a child could get? And
So what you're going to do now is you're going to, in my mind, you are punishing me with something that's much harder. But in your mind, you're doing me a favour now with something much harder. Is that right?
I resent the term punishment.
Really?
Because I am going out of my way to just try to give you the pride in this that you deserve.
Here he goes. Right, come on, hit me with it.
I'm the good. I want to be appreciated for this. Okay.
Really.
So anyway, like I say, a second long, but very easy. Okay. You'll get it immediately.
Play it again.
So there's a lot of clues in there.
I do feel like I recognise it, but it's just too short. I feel like...
That's what a lot of people say about you, though. I recognised that woman, but she's just too short.
You're an idiot. Play it again. Shut up. Oh, I do know it as well.
Well, I said that you would find it instantly recognisable, as you have. So I feel like I'm doing my part in restoring your pride.
But 1 second isn't long enough. At least 3 seconds. We should make them a minimum of 3.
Did you say that you know what it is?
No, I said I recognised it.
Okay, so did you say that you recognised it?
But it's too short.
Yes, I know, but the point is that I make these things instantly recognisable for you, and you are confirming that they are indeed, that this one is indeed recognisable.
Right, well, leave it with me.
You want to hear it once more before we move
please.
on?
Oh, I know it. It's not Regal Riches, is it?
Wow. Well, are you
You know what
happy
I did there? I just put myself in a casino, like I visualised myself in a casino in front of a machine. And now that I've said that, it's going to be completely wrong. But I just tried to visualise something. What would I be sat in front of when that noise went off? But I don't know. Let's leave it with me. I'll come back to it later.
See, that's a shame because, you could have committed there.
Well, no, that's my guess so far.
Okay. Anyway, we will reveal the answer, as usual, later on, and we'll see if Lynsey's pride is restored.
You know what? You'd be gutted if I get it right. You'd be gutted.
No, listen, I'm rooting for you. That's why I'm rooting for you. That's why I've made it so instantly recognisable for you, as you have confirmed.
That's why you've made it a second long, is what you're saying.
Well, because you've got to get the pride from somewhere. 9 seconds long. Yeah, like I say, I know you. You're not going to take any real pride from that. You're a very proud woman.
Anyway, let's move on. What's your? Have you got any news this week?
I have news.
Okay. Are you going to tell us the news, or are you just going to sit and proclaim you have news?
Well, let's try the second one.
Okay.
No, let's do the first one. So, Nevada casinos last month recorded a new record high revenue for the month. Can you guess what it is?
Oh, no.
So this is the whole of Nevada. It's not just Vegas.
Right. And did you say it was profit or just revenue?
Profit. So this is how much the casinos won off us. Not us personally, but us collectively.
Over a month.
Over the course of a month. Over the course of February.
Oh. I mean, it's got to be in the millions. Just because of the amount of people that would go there in a month.
I'm liking this at the minute because it's me who has all the answers and you just kind of, scratching around for answers. I
could pick a figure out the sky. Like, I'm just going to say 50 million.
1.237 billion.
Oh, my God.
So the Las Vegas Strip casinos won 712.5 million of that, which is 19% up on the same time last year.
712 million in a month just from the strip casinos.
Just from the strip casinos. That's how much they won from us.
Oh my goodness. That makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, obviously we know that, it's big money. And I think when I'm saying 50 million, I'm kind of thinking everyone bets the same level as me. Do you know what I mean? You kind of put yourself in that position, don't you? And go, everybody goes in there and bets $1 or $2 a spin. But you forget about the massive kind of poker players and the huge blackjack players and the ones that are thrown in your,
the whales.
The ones that are, that you see on the documentaries and whatever, and they're whacking, tens of thousands down on one bet. So I'm kind of completely out of that circle and out of that loop, and expect to always be for the rest of my life. But that is a lot of money. I mean, obviously there's a lot to pay for in Vegas, isn't there? You know what I mean? They've got a hell of a lot to pay for. But if that's profit, if that's not revenue, if that's on top of all of that,
that's how much money they won off the gamblers.
Wow. Yeah,
so
that's
anyway,
a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. I like to say it's
a
record.
I wonder why it's, like I say, a record high. I wonder if there's a reason for that. I wonder if it's a trend over the year or whether it was a specific... I mean, there was nothing particularly... Maybe, was it... I was going to say March Madness, but was that February, did you say?
February, yeah.
So it wasn't even a March Madness.
No. I mean, maybe this is to do with coming out of COVID, and obviously this time, like last year, I mean, I think things were starting to get back to kind of normal, but maybe there's just been a lot more trust and people were just kind of saving up and ready to come and maybe gamble more this year. And
but I mean, February is notoriously one of their quieter months as well. I mean, when you look at it, it's not one of their peak times. So it'd be interesting to see if that trend is now going to rise like every month all year.
Well, it's only a record for the month.
Yeah, right,
so,
okay, yeah.
So it's not record overall. It's just for that particular month every year.
Wow, well, that's a lot of money. I'm sure I've contributed. Well, not in February, clearly, but certainly, normally in a month, I do contribute my bit to that. My penny goes in that pot, usually. Right, my bit of news was actually about Adele. Now, whether you're an Adele fan or not, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But I know her residency caused a big stir when she was meant to be at Caesars, and then she pulled out last minute. And then when she returned, the prices were like extortionate. And but by all accounts, the show's spectacular. She's really delivered on it. So I think her last show was meant to be last weekend, and she announced live on stage that actually she wasn't done and she was going to do some more shows. So when I had a quick look, it said that I think she's coming back in June, July, and then again August, and then again kind of October-ish towards the end of the year. So as you know, we are due to go back to Vegas in June. So while I was in line in bed the other morning, and Michael was lying beside me fast asleep, I thought I'd go on and register for Adele tickets. Now, bearing in mind, Michael has no clue who Adele is.
That's the only reason why you've brought this piece of news up, isn't it? Because you want to out me for my little Adele secret, which is she could be sitting next to me on the bus and I would have no idea who she is. No idea.
He reckons he wouldn't know what she looks like. He reckons he wouldn't know a song. So naturally, to try and help him out, I often sing Adele songs at him.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes, it is.
Because I just think that you're just singing. I've got no idea that you're actually singing Adele songs at me.
Yeah, and then you always just say you don't recognise them.
Well, I don't, because I'm not entirely convinced that she exists.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not. Just because she's so, I don't know, she's just never anywhere important, is she? She's just not.
She's in Vegas. That's pretty important.
Yeah, but allegedly she's in Vegas. But
honestly, Michael's in his bubble, and he's very, very clever with certain things, and other things he's just completely oblivious to. But anyway, lying in bed the other morning, because there's like a pre-registration you go on, and it's like a ballot for tickets. So anyway, I went on the other morning and thought, wouldn't it be great if we got Adele tickets? And Michael had to sit through it, like the Country Music Awards. So that was my plan, possibly led by a little bit of evil. But anyway, if we can get Adele tickets, great. If we can't, I'm not that bothered. It was one of those things that it'd be cool if we can.
You see, we're what, about 13 minutes into this thing, and we've all heard about how I was obviously looking after Lynsey's pride, and there's been certain accusations made that I wasn't sincere, and yet she's just openly admitted to plotting against me with evil, and that's a quote, to just basically give me a miserable night.
So, more miserable.
I think we've learned a little something about who's really on whose side here.
Really. It'll be more miserable when we come out of the concert and I just sing Adele at you for the next 3 hours as well.
It won't make any difference. You always sing something at me.
Anyway, that was my news.
There's another. Kelly Clarkson has announced a residency in Vegas this summer. That's July, early August. And Madonna has added an extra date to her world tour in Vegas as well.
Well, I've got a plan. So obviously we are going to see Madonna in October when we go. And my plan is that if she's so good that I just have to see her again, then we just have to go back for the next date.
Which is in January, I think. January 2024 is when
and can you see anything wrong with my plan?
It depends on if it's tainted with evil or not. As I'm learning, many of your plans, as we are indeed all learning, many of your plans involve and indeed pivot around your intent to do me evil.
No, I think if we want to go back to see Madonna, if she's so good, then that just means you get an extra free Vegas trip. What's not to like?
I am confident that Madonna exists.
Oh, well, that's good.
I'm confident.
You've seen her before, have you?
Well, I'm aware of her.
Okay.
So if I'm aware of her, she must be a thing.
Okay. I have to live with him, people. Just so you know, I have to live with this man.
I don't think that she truly appreciates the privilege.
I definitely don't. Right, my last bit of news has caused a bit of a stir this week. So if you on any of our social media, so basically the Plaza, that everybody knows we love the Plaza, put out some potential renderings or basically how it's going to look, the front of the Plaza, when Pink Box Donuts arrives. Now, everybody knows there's been a lot of building work going on outside the Plaza, and the plan is that they turn that corner, as you're looking at the building to the left, that corner, which previously had that little Studio 72, Studio 52.
Is that not still going to be there, though?
I don't think so. I think Pink Box is taking over that corner. So that was where it had that. There was nothing really on the outside of that. It was just kind of doors going in. It's going to take that corner, and then the lovely kind of circular bit in the middle is going to be a carousel bar. And that's what they've been working on. So the renderings came out with Pink Box, which, they're not subtle. They're not discreet in any way. They are very much in-your-face graphics. And we have to say we don't know whether this is actually what the final thing will look like. But it did come out, and Jonathan Jossel, who everybody knows who is at the Plaza, basically kind of admitted in terms of this is going to be divisive. So he kind of said, love it or hate it, whatever you do, just talk about it. Which is what we wanted to do. So we put the picture on our social media channels, put it on Twitter and Facebook, and just said, what's your reaction to this? Just wanted to gauge a bit of reaction and see how people came back. I know Michael kind of saw a few comments, but he's not really looked at the figures. So basically, we had over the two, we got about, we did put it out a couple of days ago. So I think we got about 50 comments altogether, or maybe about 60 comments actually, but a lot of them were a bit tongue-in-cheek answers. So I've discounted them. So in terms of the ones that actually said love it or hate it, yes, no, whatever else. So out of the 48 replies, 34 said no. 34 said basically can't stand it, and 14 said yes.
It's basically a 3/4 split.
Yep. So some of the comments that, I'm going to start with the positives. Some of the comments that came from yes were, it's really quiche, it's over the top, but it's over the top Vegas style, just what Vegas is all about. It's gaudy, I love it. Love it, can't wait to try the donuts. Amazing. One saying they should have added neon lights as well, so obviously it's not even bright enough for some people. And the lovely Kevin Alderton replied, Camp AF. And I'm not going to say the word, but no, everyone will know what AF means. So he loves it. He's in the yes camp. In the no camp, ooh, where do we go with this? In the no camp, it was very much OTT, tacky. A couple of people thought it was an April Fool's joke, a bit of an early one. A lot of people saying that they thought it took away from the classic kind of historical, kind of prestigious look of the outside of the Plaza. Some people said it's like a theme park. It's too much, that it cheapens the Plaza, ruins the vibe, ghastly. Hell no. Some of the comments we got. Awful, gross. One person did say they felt like it was kind of that it used to be fashionable to relive your birth years ago, and that gave them that kind of vibe with the big pink donut and that you're coming in and out of it. So yeah, there was a real mix. It does seem to be very divisive, but certainly more on the no side at the moment than the yes side. But that might be because, first off, change is quite a big change, isn't it? And secondly, you just don't know whether those renderings are going to be exactly how they look. in real life. So, what are your thoughts, Michael?
I think I've looked at this picture about 6 times, and I've had about 6 different opinions on it. So I've thought something different about it every single time. So it's very difficult for me to commit to any one of them. It's certainly striking. I think we can all agree there. It's going to be a talking point. There's part of me which agrees with people that it's might be just a little bit too much. But then I kind of have to almost check myself and think, well, there should always be room for a little bit of, too much in Las Vegas, because it's supposed to be. I mean, last week we were talking about, ruining the end of pirate shows and dragons in Vegas, and it's quite difficult on the one hand to say, oh well, we want those silly, over the top, crazy things back, but we're not happy with this one, So yeah, sometimes I like it. Sometimes I just think it looks awful. It's probably something that we can't really judge from the rendering, though. I think that we're just going to have to see. Just wait and see what it's like. But I'm neither opposed to it or for it at the moment, I've got to say. I kind of change every time I see it.
There was a couple of interesting comments that I thought. One, whether this is true or not, I'm not going to put my side either way, but somebody who said they were a former employee of the Plaza commented saying that in one hand they were glad that something was actually being done to that corner. It was almost a bit of a wasted space and they needed to make use of it. And I get that completely. But the other comment that he made was that how close it's going to be to the Carousel Bar. So obviously the Carousel Bar is going to be, well, from what I can gather, quite classy and quite in theme with the Plaza. And whether the donut rendering is just going to be kind of a bit too much in your face and overpower it almost. I don't know. Another person commented saying that they actually think it's amazing. They love it. But if they just picked it up and stuck it in Link Promenade on the Strip, it would be kind of perfect, and that it's maybe just it's perfect for Vegas, but maybe not perfect for the Plaza. So yeah, I don't know. It was really interesting comments. There was one lady called Veronica Murphy who I think she's on my wavelength, because she said, "I love it and I hate it," and I thought, yes, I have the same feelings. I'm the same as you. When I first saw it, my first instinct was, "Ooh, no." No, I didn't like what I was thinking, no, it's Plaza and I don't want that to look like that, and I don't want it to be kind of commercialized, I suppose, which sounds silly for Vegas, but just kind of over commercialized for a donut shop and whatever else. But then I looked at it again, and same with you, I was a little bit like, you know what, it's Vegas-y and it might look really cool when it's on there, and so I don't know, I'm kind of torn with it. It does remind me a little bit of the theme park, though, if you've ever been to Universal Studios in Florida and the Simpsons area, and they've got like big pink donuts that you walk through and stuff like that. So it did remind me a little bit of that. But I think it's one of those wait and see when it's up. A little bit like the hard rock guitar, isn't it? It's kind of wait and see when it's up, see the feeling you get from it, and then kind of go from there. But interesting, though, the difference of opinion on how kind of strongly people feel about it.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's making people feel something either way.
Yeah.
I kind of get what people say, that it's maybe the right thing in the wrong place, because I think that Plaza is kind of the vintage vibe.
Yeah.
In downtown Vegas, and a lot of that is starting to go, isn't it? It's just like, everything's starting to get very kind of modern, and there's a lot of investment going on, and Plaza is almost the one kind of a beacon of what Vegas was.
Yeah.
In that in like that place, and it looks like they've kind of given up that corner to just be something that could be anywhere. They've almost like given up a little piece of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a bit of a shame. But at the kind of same time, it's a donut shop. I'm not sure how upset we can really be about it.
Yeah. And I mean, nothing's going to change. But it might not. Well, it's certainly not going to be a permanent change. You know what I mean? And it's renderings that'll come back off again.
But the thing is, as well, nothing in Vegas ever is a permanent change. So and ultimately, if it fails, if people don't use it, it'll be gone quickly.
Yeah. So, but we're not telling people to sabotage.
No, that wasn't a call to arms.
No,
please don't take it that way.
and to be fair, next time we stay there, I am looking forward to some breakfast donuts. So I'm all for giving it a go, certainly. Anyway, I think.
But if I could just say, Plaza, it's already got a Subway in there, a Mac. Thingies in there, hasn't it?
McDonald's,
Macad's in there as well. So it's already gone down that kind of commercialised route to a certain extent, just not so much in your face and certainly not in the exterior,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've all got to. You've all got to provide kind of fast eats and, and these type of stuff. It's just whether it kind of changes the look and the vibe and the feel from it. But like I say, only time will tell, really.
Interesting, anyway.
Yeah, have you got any more news or not?
No, I have not. I have little news this week.
Okay, you can't say you've got nothing much to say this week though, because
listen, like I said, I've been spending most of my week being concerned about your pride and how I can help you kind of nurture it after the kind of cruel big blow that it took last week.
Can anybody else be bothered with this spin? Because it's permanent, it's constant in my life.
You see, it's just a lack of appreciation there. But anyway, let's move on.
So, another thing that came up this week that we thought we might discuss was, so obviously we had Simon South on the podcast last week, and he was going to Vegas this week, I think. I don't know the exact day he said. I can't remember it, but I'm sure it's this week.
By the time you listen to this, he'll probably be there.
Yeah. And then we also spoke to another couple of vloggers that we know to set something up with them. But anyway, we asked them, and they're all going in the next week or 2 weeks.
Is this Hangovers and Handpays?
Yes, there's them, and Steve Gale I know is going very soon too.
We love those guys. Let's give them a nice little shout out because
Yeah, definitely. So we were chatting about them, and they're all going. Obviously, they're going earlier than us. So obviously, half of us wants to scream and go, "That's not fair. We want to go." But anyway, the other half of us is we kind of said, "Oh, feel really happy for them that they're getting back to Vegas and whatever else." And we said they must be in full pre-Vegas planning mode at the moment. And then we kind of started talking about, well, actually, what is pre-Vegas planning mode and what do you actually do to prepare yourself before Vegas? Now, we're not talking about get your passport ready, make sure you've got your ESTA, make sure you've got your dollars. We're not talking about anything like that. We're not even talking about practical stuff, like have you got new trainers or comfortable trainers or, chapstick or whatever. We're talking about the little kind of traditions, the little kind of, they might be superstitions or they might just be traditions or they might be just something that gives you that Vegas vibe before you get there. It almost extends the holiday. So you're in a kind of Vegas-y mood before you've even stepped on the plane. So we started thinking about some of ours and then we wondered about other people's, but obviously we would love to hear after the podcast about other people's because there might be loads that we don't do. But I don't know, Michael, do you want to kickstart on a couple of hours?
I was very upset. The last time that we went to Vegas because I wanted to watch Louis Theroux probably about 2 months before we went. And Lynsey just shot me down at every turn. It was just like, no, it's too early, it's too early, it's too early. But that for me is always stop number one.
Stop number one, is
Stop number one on the road to Las Vegas goes through Louis Theroux. And that's just a fact, right? No, I won't even hear of anything else, right? Stop number one, Louis Theroux, every time.
Now, we both love the Louis Theroux one, and we must have watched it, God knows, 30 times or something now.
But that's not enough.
Now, can I just put Michael he doesn't just want to watch it 2 months before we go. He wants to watch it every night.
But I am prepared to compromise down to maybe 3 or 4 times a week. I'm a very reasonable man.
Now, I love it. And there's almost to the point now where we can say what's going to be said next. It's like watching your favourite film over and over again. And you know when there's a pause, you can say the next line. It's almost a bit like that. But there is something about that documentary. We love the characters, don't we? We love the people in it, the players. It's just a very well-made documentary. But yeah, Michael does want to watch that a long time. Now, I need to be mentally ready for Vegas to watch it, because otherwise I watch it and it makes me sad that I'm not going to Vegas soon enough. So whereas Michael wants to put it way ahead, I need to be more like, oh, it's in the next couple of weeks kind of thing. It's 2 weeks before, I would say, is maybe more 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, you
before.
see, now what everyone will notice here is that is not a compromise, because I want to do it 2 months. Right, so the compromise would be, well, let's do it a month before. But you're saying, no, it's got to be 2 weeks.
No, so, I'm not. I'm just saying I prefer it about 2 weeks. But we have done it a month before, so don't make me out to be a baddie here. We have watched it a month before.
You said yourself that, you enjoy evil.
Anyway, the other thing that we have previously watched before, but I don't think we did it the last time, but I think that might be the first time we didn't, is usually Las Vegas.
Well, the story with this one is that, as we mentioned on a previous episode, our first ever time in Vegas, we booked at the Aria, and the agent who kind of booked that said, this film was like filmed there. So we kind of watched it just purely out of total kind of, just to kind of see what it was going to be like, essentially in lieu of a vlog, which we didn't actually watch it. Now we just go online and find some kind of vlog. We didn't really know of those things back then. So we kind of watched it to see what we were actually getting. And we had no idea of what Vegas was at that point, really, did we?
No, but like I say, we actually used it as a kind of vlog, didn't we? That's how we used it, as let's find out what the Aria looks like and what it feels like and how big it is and all that. And we just really, really loved the film. And it does tend to be a little bit of a tradition now, but it's not as big a tradition as Louis Theroux. It's just, if we've got time, we'll try and squeeze it in, won't we?
Yeah, how long is it until we go to Vegas in June?
Let's get my
2.5 months or something.
Yeah, that's another. It's 88 days.
Well, you see, for me, this is prime Louis watching time.
Is it?
Right? Yes. In fact, I think after we finish recording this, we should, watch Louis gambling in Las Vegas.
Well, this leads us on to another thing. So there's one thing about what do you watch beforehand. So obviously that's one documentary, one film we've mentioned, but there's also vlogs. So is there anything, we have people saying to us before they're going to Vegas that they rewatch our vlogs going back. Now we will watch our own vlogs, definitely, because sometimes I like to
Well, that's
reminisce.
the whole point of them. That's the entire point of why we actually make them,
So we will watch them, but we tend not to. We won't necessarily watch the full lot, will we? We'll kind of pick and choose and whatever else.
We basically fast forward all the bits in which I'm talking.
No, we don't. And hey, if we did, it wouldn't be me doing that. By the way, just to make that clear, it's Michael who would do that. But we actually. We do sometimes have a proper giggle, don't we? Some of the vlogs. But other ones we have gone back and we've watched like Matt's vlogs, a season of Matt's vlogs or something like that, haven't we, to put us in the mood.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I do think vlogs are a good one for that. What we love to do is, if there's somebody like, so we've just mentioned there, Handpays and Hangovers and Steve Gale are going out, and obviously Simon's going out there, probably on the flight right now. So we like to watch them, people who are currently there on the way in, so you can see if there's any new games and things like that as well. So that's always a tradition. That's kind of a nightly thing. Every night we'd watch a vlog going up to it.
I am looking forward to both Simon's vlogs and Hangovers and like Handpays too, and of course Steve Gale. I'm looking forward to watching all of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Another tradition is something it's kind of a tradition. It's something you've just mentioned there when you asked me how many days it is till we go in June. Because immediately I got up my phone app and I went into my day count. So literally, it's like after we've booked a trip to Vegas, the first thing I do is enter it onto my day count on my phone. So, and it's like a little thing that every morning I wake up, check my phone, and I always just have a little sneaky look on day count so I can kind of see how many days left till Vegas.
yeah, but the thing is, though, you mentioned to me probably about 6 times every day how many days it is until Vegas. So you know exactly how many days it is.
I know, but there's the
without having to
satisfaction
look.
of watching it count down. I could just say to you, oh yeah, it's going to be like 88 days. But then I know tomorrow I can look again, and it just feels like it's like ticking the day off a calendar, isn't it?
Is it really 88 days?
Yep.
Ugh. Why are we even bothering? Why are we even really bothering?
So the other thing about that is it kind of comes with prep. Now, we've done this both ways. So do you do a schedule? So are you somebody who will go and do research beforehand, looking at any new kind of opening restaurants, shops, bars? Do you then plan it around? Do you have your list of, these are what I really want to do, I really want to see, and then you literally do like a spreadsheet and it's all planned? Or you were proper like fly by the seat of your pants type of person who just goes and just does what they feel like any day of the week?
Well, I mean, as you know, I have been known to plan it all out and make a spreadsheet and all of this, but I hate myself for it. I really do. I hate myself for it.
Generally in life, I'm the planner. I'm the one who has loads of spreadsheets. You should see my finance spreadsheet. It's immense. But when it comes to Vegas, Michael is definitely the planner. He's the one, and the spreadsheet is, a sight to behold. It's color coordinated and everything. It's all split into time blocks.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. It sounds so much better than it actually is. If people could see it, honestly.
But
my shame would just never end.
But if I say something like, if he's like, oh, well, we'll put this, and I'll say, well, yeah, we can put that in, but, on the day if we don't feel like it. Oh, the daggers. The daggers that come my way. The looks that come my way, as if like, what he actually calls me is a hippie.
Yes, this is how hippies live, right? Hippies live with all this, it doesn't matter what we do and when, and we can change this plan, and we can change that plan, and this is very hippie mindset, and it's no way to live.
I know, but sometimes you want a bit of flexibility, don't you? I mean, to be fair, we have done it before where we've done both. We've done one where we've planned everything and we've gone there and we've stuck to the plan. We've done one where we've planned everything, gone there, and the plan's just gone up in the air.
Listen, let's be completely honest with ourselves here. One hangover and the plan goes to shit anyway. And hangovers happen quite often in Vegas. So once you hit that first hangover, all plans are just basically torn up anyway.
Yeah, but then I don't get the daggers, so that's all right. Sometimes I have to just go with the flow on the spreadsheet and agree, knowing that if I just give him a bit of rum and get him a bit drunk while we're there, then I can then play with the schedule.
Listen, we know that Rum Michael is retired. Rum Michael's gone.
No, never.
Yes, I mean I'm assuming most people have probably seen Rum Michael on the vlogs. And it's actually one of our first ones, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, that was.
And we have agreed. I think as a community, as a nation, I like to think that nobody needs to see any more of that.
No, we do. Rum Michael was just one of the funniest nights in Vegas because he just made no sense. Just no sense whatsoever, and I couldn't get any. But I was managing to vlog him, but try to converse with him at the same time, and was getting no sense from it. And then I just kept bursting into hysterics because of the craziness that he was coming out.
No, you were getting perfect sense. You just were incapable of understanding it.
No,
because it was perfect sense. Everybody agreed,
that was when Michael decided he was just going to give people names, just the names that he thought they should have, rather than the names that they do have.
Yeah, but that man was a Sean, and we all know it. Like, that man, he might think he was a John. He might have been brought up thinking that he was a John. But I feel like I liberated him from that nonsense, because that man 100% was a Sean.
You know what's scary? Is that you haven't had any rum like for ages, and you're still adamant that that man should be Sean.
I completely stand by it. That was also the night when you accused me of stealing your drink.
No, you did steal my drink. If anybody's seen the vlog, right, that vlog, so I had a drink left. So Michael was polishing every drink going, right? I mean, to be fair, it was his 40th birthday, so he has every right. But
that's not what you said at the time.
I went to you had every right to polish your own drinks, is what I'm saying, not mine. But I went to the toilet, and as I went to the toilet, I left him my drink. Now, he was drinking rum and cokes, so his drinks were all coke coloured. I was drinking lemonade, like vodka and lemonade or something, so mine were all like see-through, like white coloured. So I went to the toilet, and I left him with half a full drink, and I said to him, do not drink that. Do not drink that. That's my drink. Do not drink it. So then I went off, and he was going, I'm not going to drink it. I'm not going to drink it. And then I started walking to the toilet. I turned around, and he started drinking it. He was, and I was saying, Michael, no, it's my drink. So then I took a few more steps to the toilet, came out, looked back, drinking it again. I thought, oh, great. So then I came out the toilet, and he's walking around with my empty cup, like just completely empty. And I said to him, you've drank my drink. And he was adamant he hadn't. He was adamant. He was just walking around with his empty drink saying, and I said, Michael, if you hadn't drank it, why are you walking around with an empty cup? And he was saying it was all my fault.
Listen, I guess that we'll never know what truly happened that night.
No, we do, because I saw you with my own eyes.
There were no credible witnesses. We've got no footage.
Excuse me, I'm credible.
Listen, there were no credible witnesses.
Credible?
There were no credible witnesses.
Honestly, people, he does this all the time.
And, we've got no footage of it. And, it's just lost to the mist of time.
Actually, you're saying we've got no footage of it. The end of the vlog is you talking to the camera yourself, carrying the drink.
Speculating.
Saying something about, I haven't drank Lynsey's drink. I haven't drank Lynsey's drink. And then I might have drank Lynsey's drink. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, but that just shows my capacity for reason at that time, because
really,
I am a kind of a large enough man to speculate.
Really,
and to open my mind.
That was also the night that the panda took advantage of you.
Oh, that bloody panda! Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, one hangover and the schedules.
Plans go. I suppose what we're really asking is almost.
Are we asking something still?
Yeah. Okay, how early is too early to get ready for Vegas? Now we're kind of thinking, are we the exception here? Because I think it sounds almost like Vegas kind of consumes us. Like in the lead up to Vegas, it almost takes over our life. We're already talking about what we're going to watch, what we're going to do. We've got plans. We've got all of this, and it's almost like. Do other people get this consumed? Like, is it become part of the holiday almost in the lead up to it? Or do other people just kind of, book their flights and show up the day? Maybe I'm not meaning that obviously they pack and they get that kind of stuff, but does it kind of take over a lot? Do they do the build up? I think that's what I'm interested in.
I feel like this has become a kind of a Lynsey-led journey of self-exploration.
Do you think?
In terms of, I think you're trying to figure out just how nuts you are. and that's a podcast that I'm up for. I think that we could delve deep into that and, come up with something quite conclusive.
I'll tell you what else we do, though, and can I just tell you that you are adamant this happens. This isn't a me thing. So if we talk about craziness, this is you. Michael is adamant that, fair enough, you might look at what restaurants you're going to book when you're in Vegas. You might look at what's open, and you might even book restaurants so that you've got meals ready for when you go. But Michael insists we have a Vegas Eve meal as well. So we always go out the night before we go to Vegas, right? So we do a pre-Vegas meal. Never mind all the food we're going to eat while we're in Vegas, but also we will generally have a pre-planning Vegas meal as well. So, like, a couple of months before we go, let's go out tonight and let's plan what we're going to do in Vegas. So, it's ridiculous. It's when you think about it, it's pretty ridiculous.
Is it though? I
don't know.
I don't think it is.
See, but I've only got your craziness to go off, and you've only got my craziness to go off. So I don't know. I'd be really interested to hear other people.
Let's face it. If we're saying that we're both as crazy as each other, I've come off far worse out of that than you have. Because I'm not crazy, right? But if you're saying that you're as mental as me, then that speaks well of you. But I'm not as crazy as you.
Can anybody else work them out? No, I don't think people can work it out.
Possibly.
They're crazy.
I honestly don't see anything wrong with either the pre-Vegas meal or the pre-planning Vegas meal.
And then the Louis a month or 2 months ahead.
2 months ahead.
Then the Las Vegas. Then the vlogs.
I mean, I've got to say that this conversation has probably made me re-evaluate the whole Louis thing.
Yeah, you're going to say earlier, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe 2 months isn't the time to do it. I'm thinking probably we adjust that to around 88 days.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the proper little sweet spot. No, because 88 is a lucky number in Vegas.
Oh yes, well I suppose you are right, but by that time is 888 not a lucky number?
Well, yeah, but we don't book Vegas 888 days in advance.
We would if we could.
We would if we could, and if we indeed did, I would want to watch Louis.
So maybe by that token, is Louis Theroux an 888 and an 88 and then an 8 days before?
No, he's kind of an 88, 87. 84, 81, maybe a 78. That's the kind of
You know what? Louis Theroux would be Michael's dream guest on this podcast.
Oh, without a doubt. I've asked him. Well, I've asked his agent. He's ignored me, and frankly, I don't blame him.
I think your what was your words that you were gonna do to him to get him to agree?
I was gonna. Like Andy Dufresne him.
Yeah, like
because obviously in the kind of Shawshank, he had to write 2 letters every single week to base it until they gave him the books to build a library just to shut him up. So I'm probably going to have to Andy Dufresne Louis to get him on here, but let's see if it works. Okay,
so I'm just going to put out on behalf of Begas Vaby apologies to Louis Theroux and Louis Theroux's agent who are going
It is going to be borderline harassment.
Okay.
But it's an important borderline, though.
It's important that people know that I'm not involved in this plan as well. There you go. That's my get out clause.
Yeah, right because there. Apparently this tape is going to be played in court, it sounds like. To prove Lynsey's innocence and send me down, yeah.
And I have said this before, but I just love the bit. It's so simple on that documentary when Louis Theroux's in the lift going up and down and he's saying, "Are you winning? Are you winning?" And that's all he's asking people. And I just love the reactions. And I would just love to do that as part of some kind of vlog or social media stuff. I do hope one day we can do that without getting arrested for harassing people in lifts in Vegas. But yeah, that would be great.
So are you saying that you're not going to be coming with me on the kind of pre-Vegas meal this time, by the way?
Oh, no, I'll be there. Well, how are you going to plan Vegas without, your kind of partner in crime there?
I'll muddle through.
Really?
Yeah, I'll muddle through.
No, I'm definitely going, but it's just like I say, you wonder about, do people plan more than, is there a way of planning more than us?
I don't think that I think you're making us sound a little bit more obsessive than we actually are.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how. I'm just trying to spin it. So, I'm just trying to think of a way that makes us sound a little bit less crazy. Because I don't believe that we are crazy.
Maybe other people watch Louis Theroux like 5 times a day leading up to Vegas.
I'd like to think they do.
Maybe people watch like every single Las Vegas film, like, 10 times before they go. Maybe people have a meal every night on the lead up to Vegas. Maybe people are a bit more.
What's your other favourite Vegas films other than Las Vegas?
I actually don't think there's that many really good ones. I mean, obviously there's the Ocean's 11 one. Is it 11 and 12 that are there, or 11 and 13? I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
I do like that. I do think that gives a proper Vegas feel. There was that. What's the other one with? Was it 21 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was quite good. I enjoyed that. There's the silly one. What they call the Chevy Chase ones.
National Lampoon.
Yes.
Vegas Vacation. That's a classic.
It keeps winning the cars. The son keeps winning the cars at the casinos. Yeah, I do like them. But
Hangover.
Of course. I love the Hangover. But yeah, I think the go-tos always seem to be Las Vegas and Louis, don't they? They're the kind of must-watchers. But I'm sure there's others that other people watch and love. Anyway, what we'd love to do is for people to let us know if in terms of, I suppose, as a comparison, are we a bit more crazy than other people, or do we get a bit
Lynsey,
more?
I can answer that question for you if you'd like. Allow me to be the first person to answer that for you. Yes, you are more crazy than everybody else.
I just mean in terms of the Vegas prep. Do we do we take it too far, or do other people do the same as well as us? I'm just interested in that. Or there might be extra traditions that other people have that we don't, that we should add in. There might be new traditions we should add.
Well, it's interesting, because I think that, I wonder if it rescinds over time. Because, we went to Vegas once, then a couple of years later, we went back. 3 years later, actually. And then we've kind of done that thing where we said, wouldn't it be nice if we could go just like every year instead of, every 3 years? So then we'll start to actually do that. And then it was, wouldn't it be nice if we could squeeze in 2 trips a year? And we've started to do that now instead. And we're already thinking, could we get away with 3? So I'm thinking maybe for the people who go, especially those based in the kind of US and stuff who go to Vegas, multiple times a year, I'm assuming that for them it's all kind of just fallen away, and there's no kind. Is there still that pre-Vegas excitement when you're going that often? Do we think?
It's a good point. Maybe if we were going, if we were more local and going more frequently, there probably wouldn't be time in between to do a kind of big pre-Vegas routine.
I actually have a plan. I'm a bit of a scientist, as you know. I think we can test this.
Really?
Yes. And I think that we owe it to ourselves and to science in general to actually carry out this test.
So you're saying we should go to Vegas once a month for a year, purely for scientific reasons?
I think it's the only way.
Okay. Right, so how do we do? Are we setting up a crowdfunding page, or how are we actually making this happen?
Let's discuss that at a later date.
Why don't we? If it's for scientific reasons, maybe we apply for like some kind of grant funding.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Maybe there's some science grants out there that we can get. I'd like to write that bid. I'd like to write that bid for the grant funding. So the hypothesis is, do you get bored of going to Vegas if you go every month?
Yeah, is it possible to get bored of going to Vegas? What's the point at which you would stop getting excited?
I'm up for that experiment. I think we just need the funding.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe we do start up some kind of Kickstarter page, or purely in the interest of science.
That would be all it would be. Of course, there wouldn't be any enjoyment or anything.
Well.
No.
Well, science isn't there to be enjoyed, is it?
Exactly. Nice try, Michael. I'm not sure we got away with that one, but
to be honest, I couldn't afford all of the pre-Vegas meals out. that would bankrupt me before I even got there, even with the Kickstarter funding. So
I know. Anyway, let us know. Let us know your kind of pre-Vegas routines, or if yours are, how they compare with ours. Put it that way. Anyway, do we want to go back to try and get this sound? And I want it like 4 times in a row, back to back.
Demands. Okay, but that means that you're going to have to shut up for 4 seconds. Are you capable?
Charming. Yes. You know when you kind of go like blind with it because you've heard it too much now, like in a row.
Well, that's
my fault.
Well, what I was going to say was, bearing in mind it's a sound, blindness would actually enhance.
No, but you know what I mean.
Appreciation of it.
When you hear it too much, then it kind of you don't get that initial kind of oh yeah. Now because I'm a bit unsure, I'm going to stick with my original thing, which was Regal Riches. When the Wilds come out, that's what I'm going to say.
Well, I can tell you that your streak is over.
Oh, man.
I can tell you that you're wrong, but I'm seeing that as a positive, because at least you're wrong at something worth doing, as opposed to being right at something which was, something that a kind of like a child could do.
All right. So, well, how wrong am I? What is it?
It is Tiki Tiki Fire.
Ah.
It's when you get the bonus and the volcanoes erupt. That's how you can hear them going off one by one.
Well, have you got a longer clip?
No. Do you hear the 3 volcanoes erupting? Yeah.
There need to be at least a couple of seconds.
Well, I don't see why.
I'm campaigning for this to be at least a couple of seconds.
You've still not thanked me.
What exactly am I supposed to thank you for?
For helping to restore your pride.
You know what? Can anybody else put up with this?
So anyway, the streak is over, but it wasn't really worth a damn anyway.
Yes, it was. Right.
And normality is resumed. The reassuring normality of Lynsey getting stuff wrong.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Remember those daggers that you fired me? They'll be coming right back at you.
Will they? Right.
Okay, let's go to a couple of questions. We left it really late to ask for questions, to be honest, this time. But thank you to people who did put some forward. So, DJen Jenny and me, she asked us a question last week. She's asked us another one this week. But it's very specific. So, I'm going to read the question out, but I'm also going to tell you that we have deferred the answer to our resident expert. But anyway, the question is, if you were playing a top dollar slot, guess who the resident expert is, by the way? $1 denom, $3 spins. At what bonus dollar value would you take the offer? I.e., anything over $35, $50, etc. So, as you can imagine, we very rarely play a top dollar, and we have a resident expert on the team, who obviously is a top dollar expert. So, do you want to take this, Michael?
Yeah, we asked Matt Bridger.
Of course.
And he gave us the answer of always 45 or above. I've followed this rule for 25 years. So,
no matter what you're playing, basically he's saying 45 is the cutoff. Like I said...
who are we to argue with Matt on this,
Exactly. I think we've played top dollar twice, maybe 3 times.
I played it in Cosmo a few times. But, enough for you to realise that you weren't a fan.
Yeah, I was going to say only if you insisted. But anyway, so another question we got was from Dwarf Shortage. Nice name. So he's flying over in June from Dublin, but he doesn't land in Vegas until around 10 p.m. Only there 5 nights. What do you guys do on the first evening you are there? That's not a full day when you've been awake for what feels like 6 weeks. So this is one of the things that I think comes up all the time on certainly UK and Ireland vloggers. it's just, you can't help but talk about it. And I know it's kind of repetitive, and I know everybody who's watching must think, oh, I know, we know that feeling. But you cannot help the jet lag and the time that it takes to get there. The first night, when you arrive and you cannot go straight to sleep. You just can't. You kind of, you're full of adrenaline from being in Vegas, and yet your body is completely on the just wrong timeline completely. And so you have this inner battle between what you want to do and what your body's telling you to do, and what your mind is even capable of doing at that point. It's a real kind of juxtaposition, isn't it? You're kind of between your body and your mind and everything like that. So you'll always hear vloggers saying, we've been up 26 hours, we've been up 24 hours at this point, we've been up whatever. Because you just can't, you get there and you just cannot switch off. So we tend to try and make a night of it, even no matter how late we arrive, because what we don't want to do is, especially if you're only there 5 nights, you do not want to waste that first night. You need to make the most of that first night, otherwise it's kind of like a write-off. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously arrived in like Vegas. I'm just trying to think of the trips when we have, and Cosmo, I think that when we arrive there, we tend to use a balcony and just kind of soak it all in a little bit first, because you can get a little bit of rest, a little bit of fresh air, and you can enjoy Vegas without being consumed by it. So you can kind of rest up there. I remember the next trip we went to, it was Mirage, and I think that we had a little refresh in the room, then we came down, got something to eat, had a small gamble, then went out on the strip but didn't go too far. So I think it's generally, it's like you say, you feel like you can't afford to waste a night in Vegas, because to be honest, half the time you would just be kind of lying there not being able to kind of sleep anyway, you know. So yeah, but I think you've got to do something, whether it's just have a little gamble, have a little walk, just even if it's just wandering up to see the like fountains, you know.
I was going to say, we've done that before, where we've arrived and it's been about 10 o'clock, 10 or half 10. We've got to the room, dumped the bags, and then I've literally said, let's go straight out, because I don't trust myself. If I lie on the bed, it's like, okay, my body might just take over here. So it's been like, right, let's go straight out. But we've done it before where, I think one of the times when we went to the Cosmo, we walked up to the fountains, kind of took the fountain show in, and, you know, just the atmosphere, whatever else. We kind of walked up to Caesars. We walked over the bridge over to Bally's and the kind of Grand Bazaar shops. And then we walked down that whole other side, didn't we? And then we went to the Cosmo and we gambled on about 5 or 6 machines. And that was the night that we hit the $500 or something on Silk Road. And then we ended up, I think we were out like 2.5 hours or something, but it just felt like we'd at least made something. We'd been on the strip, we'd seen the fountain show, we'd done a bit of gambling, and then we kind of tried to get to bed at a reasonable time, so that we were back in that cycle. But I mean, it still doesn't work. You know, you end up maybe sleeping for 4 hours, and then if you're lucky, and then you're wide awake in the middle of the night, and it's 5 days is a killer, because you're barely going to be out of the kind of jet laggy phase before you're getting back on the flight. But you've just got to make the most of it. You have really, and I would just say, sleep when you can and experience as much as you can while you can, kind of thing.
For me, I'd say just do something, right? I mean, I know that it's, you know, you can just look at it and think, I can get some sleep here, or I should go to bed, but just try and do something Vegas-y. I mean, the other thing to bear in mind is that if you do feel like you have to sleep, then just sleep, because obviously Vegas isn't going to, you know, it's not like there's a kind of a closing time in Vegas, you know. Even if you just have like a 4-hour sleep, then, you know, Vegas will still be there for you, and you can still go off and do all of these things.
I mean, there's plenty of times that we've wandered around like in the middle of the night casinos. Like I remember walking around Venetian at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
So it is possible to overthink it, I guess, is what I'm also saying, you know, and you know that you can't just do whatever you need to do. But for me personally, I'll always try to do something Vegas-y, even if it's just play a slot, and
Yeah.
see what happens. I'll always try and take in 2 different places as well. I think that Mirage time to talk about. I think we went over to Harrows too, and
We did,
had a
yeah.
little play over there, and just try and absorb Vegas a little bit.
I would always get out on the strip as well. I wouldn't just stay inside. I'd always just get out so you get that kind of feel outside. That's what I would do. Because the Mirage time we went and stood and watched the volcano show, and then we went over to Harrows, and then we came back to Mirage.
Because the last time that we went, we started off like downtown.
Yeah, we did.
And that again, we just treated that exactly the kind of same. We had a little play in our own hotel, and then we kind of went out and just had a kind of a short walk and went somewhere else. And
we went to Binions, I think, didn't we? And then came back.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question is, it's always names I can never pronounce. Wuta Rietveld. Best drink service in which casino and your favourite cocktail?
Well, this is a Lynsey one, obviously.
Really? You love cocktails too.
This is a Lynsey one.
Best drink service in which casino? Now, I've never struggled for a drink in Cosmo, ever. I've struggled for a drink in Park. I'm just trying to think of struggled for a drink in Aria massively. I've really struggled for drinks in Aria. Flamingo, we've struggled before, and Harrows. But I would say the one where I know I'm going to get the drink service is always Cosmo. I don't know about you.
For me, I think that Cosmo, I'm not sure how, because we were kind of are only ever there together. But I would say I've always found it quite hit and miss there.
Really? Maybe I'm taking all his drinks.
You are. I don't know.
Maybe he goes to the toilet and I'm down in his drink. See, it's punishment for that day when he took my drink, see?
I think that for me, the two that I think are the most consistent are New York, and Mandalay Bay. I think Mandalay, especially, I would say, for such a big gaming floor, I can't remember ever struggling for a
Well,
drink.
I can't, but I have heard other people say they've struggled. But you're right with New York, there's usually, because they're quite tightly packed in, so you can usually see one of the cocktail waitresses around. And what about favourite cocktail?
Well, I was going to say, because it was New York, where the waitress, we asked her for Blue and Strong.
Yeah, but we only asked her for Blue and Strong because the first cocktail waitress came over and you couldn't decide what you wanted, so you said to her, you said, surprise me.
Yeah, but I gave her the Blue and Strong remit.
Did you?
I'm certain that I did.
No, I think you said surprise me, right? And I think she came back with something that was Blue and Strong. So then you wanted it again, but we didn't know what to ask for because she didn't tell us what it was called.
I'm sure she said it was a marijuana or something.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. But the next waitress that came over, we said, oh, that was it, because we said, can we have a marijuana? And she was like, what? I can't give you marijuana. We were like, no, there's a drink. And then she didn't work out, and we said, look, it was Blue and Strong. And then after that, we started just saying, can we have something Blue and Strong?
Because she brought me something that was considerably stronger than it was blue. And, it was the bluest thing that I've ever seen. So it tells you how strong it was.
We needed to stir it, though, didn't we? Once we stirred it, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But I would say my favourite cocktails, my go-to cocktail is actually pina colada. I love a pina colada.
In Paris, especially. The Paris ones are spectacular.
They are, but actually the Cosmo one's nice as well. And Harrah's pina colada, they've been nice. They're very, very nice. But they can get a little bit too much if you drink nothing but them all night. So, I mean, obviously I love a lemon drop martini. But I would say they're my favourite too. I remember
a chocolate martini at Cosmo was good too.
Yeah, but again, you have one and then you think, I'm not sure if I can have another one of them. The raspberry lemon drops are nice too. But I'm not really one who likes, I don't like Mai Tais. I don't like mojitos. I don't like cosmopolitans. I'm a bit fussy with cocktails. So yeah, I think it's probably pina colada for me. But anyway, thank you for the questions. Like I say, we left it quite late to get them in this week, but do appreciate people interacting and giving us feedback and getting involved as well. So, if we have nothing else, do we think this is the end of
Well,
this
you
podcast?
say nothing else. I don't feel like I've had anything of value to kind of like add throughout any of it. So,
well, to be fair, Michael, that's no different to most of my days, really. You know, I mean,
it is true. I'm not even gonna argue with it. You know,
you know what? He's tired tonight, and you can tell because he doesn't have that much. Well, I'm saying he's not that much fight in him when he's tired. He's giving me nothing but hell all podcast, but never mind. He's I can still sense a weakening in him, so you know that's usually when I bite and take advantage of it.
you see it again, which is the hallmark of someone truly evil who can sense when someone's feeling weak, and they have the kind of relish to pounce at that moment. Because as we found out like last week, Lynsey is someone who will routinely hit actors in the face.
No, there was no routine about it. Anyway, right. Thank you so much for listening. So I don't know what the plan is next week. I'm not sure about guests and things, but we will let you know. And
we have no guest planned at the moment.
Do we not?
No.
Okay. Well, that's me told, isn't it? So thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.